Well, Joe Biden's career has been a study in political gaming, cronyism, anti-constitutional maneuvering, and the parroting of words and messages that others already have written or said.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
And now we have another example of his duplicative, duplicitous behavior. But it's not so much his use of other people's words that's remarkable this time. It's the message he imparts that's extremely telling. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. Hey, remember when Joe Biden was exposed for plagiarizing a law review article for one of his Syracuse law papers?
Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
And he blamed the Dukakis for President campaign's dirty tricks for the flap? Remember when Biden claimed that he graduated Syracuse Law as a top student and that he got 3 undergraduate degrees?
Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
But he was later exposed to have actually graduated number 76 out of 85 in the law school and was shown to have not received 3 undergraduate degrees.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
And remember when Biden claimed he got a full academic scholarship to the law school, but was exposed for having not told the truth?
Senator Joseph Biden may have more explaining to do.
The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Oh, and remember when Biden seemed to lift entire paragraphs of a speech by British Labour leader Neil Kinnock, including references to Kinnock's life that had no connection to Biden's whatsoever during his bid for the 1988 Democrat Party presidential nomination?
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
Wait a minute, there's more. Remember when his Democrat National Convention speech of August 20th saw Joe accused of employing rhetoric that seemed far too similar to the words of Canadian politician Jack Layton?
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
Come on, man, get with the program. I mean, clearly Biden's team and the pop media dinosaurs at CNN, NBC, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, PBS, and many old newspapers probably want you to forget all of those. And likewise, they might want you to quickly forget this. Yet another example of Joe seemingly lifting words written by others. And in this case, the possible act of copying isn't as alarming as the content of the material that appears to have been copied. The New American's Alex Newman reports that Old Smokin' Joe appears to have employed the term "Build Back Better" for his own use, but it originally was promulgated in 2015 by our globalist pals at the United Nations. Notes Newman, perhaps hoping nobody but globalists and deep state bigwigs would notice the obvious connection. The former vice president's campaign for president has been touting its Build Back Better scheme all over its website and beyond for weeks. However, there was no mention of the UN's own Build Back Better scheme upon which it seems to be based. And that is not surprising, since American voters would likely be horrified. I'm sure the Biden people are like, Newman. Indeed, by now, even supporters of Biden are so aware of his spiderweb of tall tales and plagiarism that they might have come to expect this kind of thing from creepy Uncle Joe. Of course, that doesn't make it any more acceptable, but his fans seem perfectly willing to not just overlook his perfidy, but to embrace it, and that might have a lot to do with the fact that they also embrace his rabidly collectivist, government expansionist ideology. And it's this worldwide collectivist ideology that is behind all this seemingly cribbed wordage that is most alarming. And Newman expands. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is using the same phrase, too, as are authorities in Canada and multiple other nations. The World Economic Forum, which is pushing the Great Reset alongside the UN and the IMF, is also peddling Build Back Better as a slogan to reinvent capitalism. You don't reinvent capitalism through political mandates. That's called fascism, socialism, collectivism, but not capitalism. And that, as Newsom notes, is important. For those who are unaware, this terminology is part of a long crusade by globalists tied to the UN, the World Bank, the EU, the WHO, and other multinational organizations to scrap both national sovereignty and free market capitalism. As I noted for MRC-TV in May, its intent is a world reset to usher in a world currency, likely digital, and a world tax, as well as international fascism in the form of the UN and other such multinational governing bodies destroying the governments of select nation states and sending money to specially favored corporations and, of course, special banks. Notes Newman, the slogan is now a catch-all phrase to push every deep state policy prescription ranging from globalism and big government to climate schemes and sustainable development that would crush whole sectors of the economy. It goes hand in hand with the UN-backed Great Reset and the totalitarian Green New Deal. And Newsom offers deeper details. In all cases reviewed by the New American Magazine, the goal of the Build Back Better campaigns is to promote a rebuild of society or different elements of it based on progressive globalist values in response to some sort of crisis. Originally, it was about building back in a UN-desired way after natural disasters, but COVID-19 did not destroy any buildings or infrastructure. Now then, the phrase is being applied to rebuilding the economy and governance, and hence the framework of society following the economic devastation wrought by governments over coronavirus hysteria and other ongoing crises. It appears to have much in common with the radical Green New Deal promoted by communists in the United States and other nations. And he adds, today the UN's use of the phrase has now morphed into something much broader, with the UN peddling the Build Back Better concept across a wide array of policies. In line with the UN, national governments and even the Democrat presidential candidate are using the slogan as cover for restructuring their societies and nations following the devastation unleashed by government responses to COVID-19, as well as the deep state-backed riots that plagued Democrat-controlled American cities in recent months. And squandering no opportunity to fall in line with liberty-hating globalists, Biden's team is right on board. Make no mistake, America has been knocked down, Biden's campaign website says, pointing to massive unemployment and destruction of businesses amid coronavirus lockdowns, ironically engineered mostly by totalitarian-minded Democrat mayors and governors. And Black and Latino Americans, Native Americans, immigrants, and women have never been welcomed as full participants in the economy. It's a shame that Biden didn't notice, or doesn't want others to notice, that at this time last year, stats for those minority groups showed the lowest unemployment levels for half a century. But of course, thanks to collectivist lockdowns that have destroyed the economy and stand as giant middle fingers to the U.S. Constitution, that's no longer the case. And of course, those are lockdowns that Biden not only supported, but which he has said need to be more stringent. So Joe Biden is easy to understand. His words seem to have been offered before by many other people, and they are uniformly collectivist people. Of course, the ideas have wrought destruction over and over and over. Economic hardship, sadness, and really depressed living standards for millions. Sad situation. It's troubling to watch Joe Biden speak. It's even more troubling sometimes to hear the ideas he expresses. Hey, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Remember, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Please spread the word to others. We've seen the subscription rates increase, and that is really awesome. I'll communicate with you as well in the communications section down there where you put your comments. I love hearing from you. It's really great. There's so many awesome ideas out there. And also, if you get the opportunity, please go to MRCTV.org. I mention it pretty much every video, but it's a great site, and there are so many terrific people doing work there. MRCTV.org. So many awesome folks I work with. I really appreciate all their efforts. And I appreciate everything that you have to tell me as well. And remember, if you want some awesome outfits, I mentioned this in another video, don't forget MRC-Store, where you can find this one, In Search of Real News. Yeah, you see Brian Stelter sometime. You can flash this at him. Hey, Brian! Oh, sorry, it'd be more like this, looking down. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.